This is the Mainframe Connect podcast, brought to you by the Linux Foundation's Open Mainframe Project. Sponsored by Phoenix Software International and by Infinity, a Converge company. Mainframe Connect includes the I Am a Mainframer series, the riveting Mainframe Voices series, and other content exploring relevant topics with mainframe professionals and offering insights into the industry and technology. Today's episode is another in the Mainframe Voices series, bringing together a diverse range of perspectives on mainframe technology and modernization from some of the industry's most respected voices.
Hello and welcome to this special episode of Mainframe Voices, brought to you by the Open Mainframe Project, a Linux Foundation initiative. I'm Rahat, your producer for Mainframe Connect and the host of the Mainframe Voices series. In this exciting episode, we are looking ahead to the Open Mainframe Project's presence at the major 2025 events, including Share, TechXchange, and GSUK. We have gathered leaders from the 2025 program committee to share what attendees can expect from these events and why they are thrilled about the opportunities to showcase mainframe community and innovation. Our guests will dive into the cutting edge sessions, workshops, and networking opportunities planned, offering a glimpse into how these events are really shaping the future of mainframe technology. Let's hear from these passionate voices as they share excitement and insights about what is in the store for the mainframe community in 2025.
Hello everyone. I'm Fernando. I've been in the IT industry for a little over 10 years now. The way I started, though, I did not know anything about mainframe 10 years ago. I knew about the movies and stuff like that. That's the funny story, like hacking into the mainframe and all that. But honestly, I didn't know what that phrase entailed, right? To me personally, I thought it was just this black box that, yes, you can send all your data to and it keeps it secure and whatnot. But since I started looking and even working on the mainframe about 10 years ago, I sort of started learning what really goes into that, whether that is redundancy of processes so that in case something goes down, something goes wrong, or even some malicious users want to do something with the data or tamper with the system, it has redundancy in place to protect itself, right? So there's a lot of that in the mainframe that I started learning over the years, and now as a mid-career mainframer, so to speak, I sort of became involved with open source with Zoe, right under the Open Mainframe Fund, Open Mainframe Project, and been working with Zoe for what 7 years maybe at this point since its inception. And it's been really cool to see a lot of the different companies, IBM, Broadcom, Rocket, getting together. From my end, I do work at Broadcom, but my main focus has been and continues to be, hopefully for the foreseeable future, in Zoe. Um, yeah, that is a little bit about me. And for the next thing on the agenda, the what to expect at the conferences. Well, one thing that I'm excited about in the upcoming ones, TechXchange and GSUK, is that there will be a lot of talk about education. Someone might ask, like, yeah, why education? Why is that important? Um, First off, we want the community, we want people to learn about the mainframe. We want to to have the mainframe, to have COS, to be just as any other platform. I know it sounds cliche, but it is easier for those coming out of college, like myself 10 years ago. If I would have had the some of the open source tooling that is out there right now, that would have been a breeze as opposed to having to learn a few of the things more traditional mainframe technology, like the panels on 30 to 70 screens and things of that sort. But for now, like things like Zoe Explorer and the Zoe Desktop, so a few different things in the open definitely make that transition a lot easier. But in the conference too, you can expect to have that mainframe open education. There is a living document that I'm kind of excited that someone is going to be talking about this. And it's called Gitbook. MOE, Mainframe Open Education Gitbook. Basically, a living document, a living repository with online resources that people can reach out to, whether they're new to mainframe or a seasoned pro. They can reach out and learn from the community. There would be also a lot of talk about Linux and COS specifically, right? And how different groups sort of come together and work to make that experience smoother for Linux experts, right? Um, some things that I'm personally excited about is the fact that mainframe is becoming more approachable. To me, it is cool to see how just from going from the 30 to 70 and having to know the different languages like JCL, COBOL. Yes, you will still need those, but with the newer technologies, you have your language server processors, your LSPs, right, on different IDEs, integrated development environments, where you have color highlighting, right? You have all your syntax, and you would clearly know when you're making a mistake, whether that is writing COBOL or learning it, right? Um, JCL, Rex, you name it, right? High level assembly. There is a sort of in these conferences, there will be a push for educating people on open source, right? It's just busting some myths that open source tended to be not necessarily the greatest thing in the world, but over the years we have learned that with open source you can definitely get things to a better place and get the platform, get the mainframe, just for example, using newer tools and newer ways of doing things from accessing APIs, automation, and things like that. And last but not least, probably my favorite part about this conferences is that you will get to hear real stories from actual users, people that have transitioned to like their workflows um, from a all closed sourced built-in tools. Say for example, banks, they might just like build their own tools for their developers, like if they're developing a mobile app, right, like your banking system and whatnot. They're moving or transitioning to developing and creating pipelines with open source technology, which like 10, 20 years ago probably wasn't a thing. So it is really cool to see this in the conferences, sort of demystifying all that taboo, so to speak, that open source wasn't a good thing. But in my opinion, now people are starting to see the value of it. So we're starting to like see some real results, and that will be coming from customers. But yeah, those are some of the things that I'm excited about, and I hope you are too.
Hi, my name is Maymelin Meener. I am the Director of Marketing and Communications at the Linux Foundation. I have worked at the Linux Foundation for 9 years, just a little over 9 years, and I've been part of the Open Mainframe Project for 7 years. I actually was asked to join Open Mainframe Project for one specific reason, and that was to launch Zoe. And it was only supposed to be a project, a quick, 6 month um, project, and then I was supposed to go on and move on to a different project. But when I launched Zoe, I had to learn more about mainframes. I got to know the community, and I ended up staying. I never left. And so now I've spent 7 years with Open Mainframe Project and have learned so much from all different types of mainframers from all around the globe. And I really enjoy, meeting new people, learning about the technology because it gets better and better. Um, and attending some of the events and meeting folks in person is probably one of my favorite things. Yeah, so we've got several events coming up. Open Mainframe Project always has a good amount of sessions at Share Cleveland, which is happening later in August, just next week, actually. um, we'll have several sessions about Zoe, about Open Mainframe Project overall, open source, Mainframe Open Education and a few others. And so that's always a good show that gives like a little teaser, appetizer, I would say, for the bigger shows with TechXchange and GSUK. TechXchange, I'm really excited about because last year was our first year at TechXchange. We had Community Day, and the community loved it. We had really good positive responses. We had over 1,000 people at 19 sessions last year. And so it was just a really awesome thing to see with all the community members, project leaders, and students. There were a lot of students at IBM TechXchange as well. And so we had a lot of questions about like the mentorship program, how to get started in open source. And it just was a very fun and educational time. I think this year is going to be even better in Orlando. In what is it? Orlando in October. I think we're going a little bit bigger this year. We've got several sessions. Our sessions um, have a variety of are featuring a variety of projects. So Zoe, CBT Tape, Feilong, Mainframe Open Education, COBOL Working Group, COBOL Programming Course, Galasa, the Open Community, which is one of our newest projects. We only launched that last year at IBM TechXchange, and so it's going to be interesting for the project leads for that project to come and then kind of give an update about where they are 1 year later. So I think that attendees will get a really good look at what Open Mainframe Project has to offer, not only from the open source side, but also like from the community side. We're anticipating this is going to be a bigger event, not just like our community day, but IBM TechXchange in general. And so I think that folks will be able to see more of our projects, learn more, talk and network more with our ambassadors, and we'll be in like the different booths at the exhibition hall or showcase. So we'll have folks, ambassadors and project leaders at I think it's the IBM booth and the user group pavilion. And so we'll be there to give out swag, give out stickers, and talk to folks too. So there'll be several, not only just our community day sessions, but we'll also be there the entire week so that we can chat with folks and folks can stop by and get our swag. So last year, Open Mainframe Project started a collaboration partnership with GSUK. And we were at the annual event for the first time in, I think it was November last year. And we had almost 400 attendees attend our 20 sessions over 4 days because we had our own stream. This year, our partnership with GSUK is even bigger. We participated in their virtual conference in May. We had our own track, had 3 or 4 sessions each day for the virtual conference. And then we'll now have another session or another track at the annual in-person conference in November. So we will have 21 sessions, I believe, spanning several different projects, including Zoe, Galasa, Open Telemetry, Terse Decompress, Feilong, Mainframe Open Education, Open, and then overall open source leadership. So we're super excited about that. This being our second time at GSUK, it's going to be great. And one of the things that I'm personally excited about is 2 of our ambassadors, Jelly and Rochelle. They just launched under the Open Mainframe Project Mainframe Connect umbrella. They just launched a podcast called Mainframe Coven. and they're actually going to do a live session about Mainframe Coven as part of the Women in IT track and Open Mainframe track at GSUK. And that's going to be really exciting because the podcast now has 2 episodes. It just launched in July. We're 2 episodes down, and we've received a lot of great feedback. Their content is really resonating with the community, and so I'm really excited to see what they say in person at GSUK. We are very thankful for the program committee for all of their hard work. So Open Mainframe Project asked for volunteers, and we had a few folks from the community raise their hands. So Donna Hudi from Phoenix Software, Liz Joseph from IBM, Fernando Cedeno from Broadcom, and then Lionel Dyke from, he's actually retired, but he's an Open Mainframe Project ambassador. They did so much work reviewing all of the submissions. I mean, between GSUK, the virtual conference, the in-person conference, and TechXchange, there were probably more than 100 sessions that had to be reviewed and rated. And I think that they did a great job putting together the schedule and the sessions, and a lot of good content that will hopefully be loved by attendees at both conferences. So we're really thankful for them. And I know Lionel wasn't able to do an interview, so we just want to personally thank him for all of his hard work, and hopefully we'll see him at a conference sometime soon.
My name is Elizabeth K. Joseph, and I run the open source program office for IBM Z and LinuxONE. But I didn't come from the mainframe space. About 20 years ago, I started working on distributed networks and distributed systems administration. So I was going out to data centers and doing lots of Linux stuff all over the place. Over the years, I worked on open source projects like OpenStack and Ubuntu. And about 6 years ago, I kind of wanted something different. So when IBM approached me and asked me if I wanted to work on mainframes, I said, I don't know what a mainframe is. So I looked into it, and I found this really amazing world of open source software and Linux support on the mainframe, and I got really excited about it. So here I am, 6 years later, still working at IBM, really passionate about open source on the mainframe. So one of the things I'm really excited about is we are continuing to grow the Open Mainframe Project. So we are really focused on making sure those new projects that are joining the group have space at our events. So when we were looking through the proposals, one of the things that we were looking for is novelty, topics that haven't presented for, projects that are new to the program that haven't presented before. And also, we have a couple projects that have been sort of quiet over the years. So we looked back at past events and said, hey, like Fei Long hasn't done a talk at this event lately. Let's bring them in. Or Z Open has made a lot of advances since last year, so we should definitely have them back again to share the latest of their updates. I was also really excited about GSE UK. We have a really great diversity of projects represented in that, and lots of different companies. So it was really nice seeing those submissions come in from a lot of different people. At IBM TechXchange, the thing I'm really excited about is we have a lot of deeply technical content. I mean, we do at both events, but the submissions that came in for TechXchange, it really gets into some of the nuts and bolts of some of these projects, which is going to be really exciting for folks who are, want to get a deeper dive into Zoe. You're going to be able to have that at TechXchange. I think one of the things that a lot of us get used to working with open source software is we're always working with people online, which is great, and I'm very comfortable with that. But one of the things that getting us together in person does is allows us to connect on another level. I think at in-person events, we get more personal and are able to work through issues that maybe we put off because we didn't want to bring it up at that meeting, or we didn't want to start a message, discussion on the mailing list quite yet until we bounce it off some other people. So that's one of the things that the in-person events do that's really valuable to the project, just getting us to meet each other. The other thing I think is exposing us to the other projects that are in the Open Mainframe project. So, you may be really heads down in Zoe and not know anything about the work that the Z Open community is doing, for instance. Going to these events allows you to see sort of a huge portfolio of what the project has to offer. And potentially, maybe there's something in this project that you can bring to your project, or a collaboration opportunity that you may not normally get if you weren't, specifically seeking out that connection.
I'm Donna Hudi. I am the Chief Marketing Officer and Head of Business Development for Phoenix Software International. I've been here for, I think, coming up on about 8 years. Prior to that, I was Shares Executive Director for almost 5 years. I became interested in the mainframe when I became Shares Executive Director back in 2014. I'd worked in the financial industry in IT for the bulk of my career, but not on the mainframe, on the distributed side. And when I became Shares Executive Director, I learned about this whole other world that I didn't know existed. And I was fortunate enough to be embraced by the community and educated and brought along for the ride, and I'm still here. I have the opportunity to be part of the scheduling committee for the Open Mainframe Project this year. And we have just completed the scheduling process for both TechXchange, IBM TechXchange, which will happen in October in Orlando. And there will be a community day like last year. And then also for GS UK, which is an in-person event that will happen at Whittleberry Hall in Toaster, England in November. And I have to say that last year we had an amazing year. We had a blowout attendance at TechXchange for Community Day for the Open Mainframe Project. It was amazing, standing room only in a lot of the sessions for most of the day. Great content, great speakers. This year is already proving it's not going to be any different. In fact, it's probably going to be better. Same thing for GS UK. For the first time ever, last year we had our own stream at the Open Mainframe for the Open Mainframe Project at GS UK. That was, a full, a dedicated room to the Open Mainframe Project for the duration of the event. We had some great content. We had great attendance, and we were very excited about that. So we're hoping to duplicate, if not beat that this year. And I think we're on track to do that. We were all very excited when we were looking at the submissions that came in for both events. Amazing topics spanning a lot of the projects within the Open Mainframe Project, whether it be Glossa, Zoe. Zoe's always a popular one, so you always get a lot of Zoe submissions. But this year, we also got a lot of Mainframe Open Education, and a lot of the other ones, like I said, Glossa, Z Open, and just really running the gambit. And diversity when it comes to speakers. We just yesterday, we were looking at the GS UK submissions, and we were so very excited about the fact that we had customers who had submitted sessions to present. We have diversity across different organizations that were not there last year that submitted great topics to present. We had way more submissions than we have space to schedule, which is unfortunate because we had to make some tough decisions. But we're very excited about those events, and we think that they're going to be amazing. So.
Thank you for tuning in to the Mainframe Connect podcast and this episode in the I Am a Mainframer series, sponsored by Phoenix Software International and Vicom Infinity, a Converge company. Like what you heard? Subscribe to get every episode, or watch us online at openmainframeproject.org. Until next time, this is the Mainframe Connect podcast.